So, do you think great minds think alike? I mean, we've all been taught certain things about how our minds and how our functions and how our IQs and all these different things in our life can matter to our life. But you know, it doesn't mean that you can't have a great mind with a very simple mind. So, I say great minds don't think alike. I think like minds think alike. I think great minds think greater. And what does that mean? That means every single mind has its own greatness. From the person that may be autistic and not be able to reach out, that person will find their greatness in whatever form it's in for them. And all of us, inside of us, have that greatness as well. Sometimes we don't know, but we do. We have that greatness, that secret, that movement. So, my firm belief is we're all programmed, we're all taught, we're all conditioned to think if we have an IQ of less than 130, we're sub-intelligent. But that's not so. So many things have been done in this world by people of lesser intelligence. So your intelligence has nothing to do with your greatness. And that's just a fantastic thing. You know, everybody has their own bit of greatness. So let's talk about thoughts a minute. Have you ever thought where thoughts come from? How they travel? Where they go? So, I've done some extended thought on time, how it affects human lives. I've also done a lot of, gotten a lot of messages on how thoughts work, and thoughts are essentially a very essential element, but thoughts are more of an element. They're a combination of electronic pulses. And these electronic pulses are generated by one's body, by that vibration, by that physicality, by that physical and mental and emotional stimuli. Each and every person has their own specific vibration. That's how spirit recognizes us, is by our vibration, by what we give off. And so what we give off, I thought, wow, so does that leave a trail? And it does. It's our thought signature. And our thought signature is constantly updated with our last 10 thoughts. And those last 10 thoughts combined a lot with our emotional and physical movement, but not only that, how we're feeling at that precise moment. So, do you ever have the feeling living in the moment? You've heard that? So let me tell you how living in the moment actually works with thoughts. As you have a thought developing, maybe you say, I want to think about my dream house. So you give your brain a subject, and it's going to start developing thoughts by the information that it already has, by the things it already knows that you've included So let's say you have it. So now you need a basis for thought. You need those last 10 vibrations to change whatever may have been your previous 10. 10 knocks down 9 and 9 knocks down 8. And you just have to move all those vibrations off your thought signature. Our thought signature is our universal recognition. Before there was so much human involvement and so many creative beings and so many immersing souls, souls actually had symbols, not names. So my soul actually has a symbol, and the symbol and the name are two different things. The name is something I adopted. But I'm known that when people see things with their third eye, I'm not known by my name, I'm not known by my face, I'm known by my symbol. And that's quite interesting that I have that symbol, because as a messenger, I often project symbols. And so it's interesting that I receive so much information through symbols and symbolism. So, when someone is trying to manifest and move things into that proper direction, paying attention to the signs and symbols they get from the universe is really important. What's more important is remember that thought signature, that vibration. I always say, intention creates attention. So when you intend to do something or you purposely do something, it creates that intention. But action creates the attraction. So when we purposely and consciously, we have to talk about consciousness, when we purposely and consciously create thoughts, then we're in our greatness, and we make bigger, better, life-changing thoughts. So we're talking about our greatness, but we're tying it into everything else. So yeah, let's talk about consciousness a minute. Our minds are all part of the conscious collective, which is a huge pool of thoughts from every thought ever thought. And so, if you think you've done something wrong, those thoughts are in that conscious collective as well. But they're very lower thoughts, they're vibrations that most people don't receive. But when you're in that collective and you're in that high vibration, everybody is just kind of singing and dancing your tune, and you're singing and dancing theirs. There's that symbiotic relationship in that thought and in that action. So how do we bring that thought into action? One thing is, let's start back about what we were talking about how thoughts form. And remember those electronic impulses. Well, once you think a thought, that thought is now a past thought. So the only real thought that you have is in the moment. Remember, we talked about that a minute ago. Okay, so when you're in the moment, you are in that creative section that creates thought. You have a chance to formulate those thoughts through that specific question or that specific thing you want to manifest. You wanted that new house, right? So tell me about that new house. And as you start to explain that process of that new house, well, I want it to be on the coast of the beach. I want to have a pool that goes all the way up to the ocean. I want it to have a 3-story front on it, all glass. I want to see the ocean from every single room. That's a beautiful, detailed manifestation that the universe understands. But until you can get to that point in your manifestation, you have to get your thoughts in logical order. So I make a practice, I call it 50 words that change your life. So you write what you want on the top of the page, and you say, I want a new house. And then I say, write 5 words, make 5 columns along the page, put a word on each one, and tell me something about that house. So I write on the beach, and I say 3-story glass front. And I say, I want a waterline pool, whatever they're called, and, I want it to be warm and tropical. So that's a lot, and then you take those 5 words and you add 9 more words to describe each thing. On the beach where? The beach in Maui, the beach in Hawaii, the beach in, I don't know, Japan. I have no idea, but that's how it works. And so when we turn that creative thought into that action of writing it down, putting those words into it, we've now increased that physical momentum toward that manifestation. So remember what I said, action creates attraction. So you're working on this attraction, and you're saying, I need this and I need that, and you're feeling good about it, and you've done everything you can today. And guess what? It didn't arrive by tomorrow. So, some people say, well, ask, believe. Okay, so I just need to believe a little more that'll happen. But, that's not it. Manifestation is a full bodily action. And in that action, one has to physically change. They have to physically do something to turn that physical energy into that electronic pulse that goes through one's brain. So by writing it down, you've taken that physical action. So when you're done writing it down, I would like you to read it. So I want you to sit there silently, open your eyes, read it with an open mind, because this is yours. It's subject to change however you want. So I want you to read it with that open mind. And then I want you to read it again. But the second time you read it, I want you to read it aloud. And I'm going to tell you the difference. When you read it with just your eyes, that secluded that idea to just thought processing through your eyes and through your brain. But when you read it out loud, you first process it through your eyes, then to your brain, then to your vocal cords, to your mouth, to your neck, to your head, but then your ears hear it. So it processes it through your ears and through your brain, through all that spinal cord and everything else is just processed too. And you create told you how we're going to get there, so let's talk about a couple other things. And that is manifestation itself. You know, many people go to a seminar for the secret to manifesting. And I will tell you, there is no secret to manifesting. Each and every person has the ability to manifest in their own way, in many, many different ways. I've eaten a chocolate bar and manifested something I liked. I've enjoyed just writing or speaking or talking about something that I would love to do, to help bring that to life and to manifest that. I've enjoyed speaking with others about spiritual topics that makes me feel great. And I've manifested that because I feel that's where my calling is. I'm a messenger. I channel for a reason. And so I want to share everything I feel with you. I'm not a person with a third eye. I can't see. Maybe that's why I have a symbol for a name. I know what it is. I'm not psychic. I can't tell anyone their future most of the time. But I can see your past, which is quite interesting in my business. So in all this talk, we've talked about intentions and actions, and how intentions create attention. So when you tune in your intentions, the universe starts tuning into you. But action creates the attraction. When the universe can positively lock on your signal by your thought identification, you know, by locking on to our last 10 thoughts and how that vibration feels. So we've discovered that we can think ahead. We can project our thoughts to ourselves in the future. I've discovered this, and I found that, using quantum physics, we can move through our future much faster. Using quantum physics, I've been able to move myself through a lot of extenuating circumstances. I've been able to master the thought of how things work in the quantum realm. And so I'm able to project myself into a place where I want to be. And just like manifesting, that action creates that attraction through that quantum movement. So like our thoughts are our energy is also part of our quantum movement. So sometimes when it feels like people aren't moving forward or aren't seeing progress, is because, many times they're not open to that quantum movement, because sometimes, to tell you the truth, it can be really scary. With that quantum movement, it just feels like time is moving so fast. It's just rapidly progressing. I got up today and I thought it was Monday and it was actually Wednesday. And all of a sudden I said, I figured out that thought process and that quantum movement, and I said, please don't put me in any situations that do not benefit me. If I don't have to meet a person, if I don't have to have an interaction, please let me avoid it. I just didn't want any contact that was not going to be beneficial for my overall development. So if you actually think about thoughts as actually creating thoughts backward, we create thoughts actually before they happen. Once you create that thought, that's a because it's no longer part of the brain. It's no longer fixating or functioning on that thought. It's receiving that new thought, that new impulse, that new vibration. So by the time you've gotten to the point where you've did your 50 words and you've spoken it and you've read it, you've affirmed it to yourself, and you've defined and refined and aligned with that, and then you've got to just, like they say, believe. Start looking for the signs, expecting to see them. Be open to that thought and say, I'm setting me a thought in the future that I am happy, I'm healthy, I'm prosperous, I'm grateful, I'm so thankful. And every time you have that and you make that conscious effort, remember we were talking about the collective consciousness, and you make that conscious effort to change that thought and put a new thought in there. I am happy, I am healthy, I am wise, I'm doing my best life, I'm loving others, I'm being the messenger that I need to be, I'm creating, I'm flowing, I'm loving life, I'm alive. That is just a really powerful statement right there.